Hey guys, welcome to another video. Once again, I'm out in the middle of Norway. It's still the same day from the last video I showed you, but it's just gotten a little bit colder. But you may have noticed two little cars sitting in the background of that last video, and it would be a real shame if I didn't show you them. So let's do that now. So yeah, basically, I'm sure a lot of people out there are familiar with Top Secret and the cars they have built. This is one of them. This is the Top Secret Supra GT300. They've built quite a few Supras over the time, but this is probably the one car that I am most familiar with. Once again, I'm going to show my age by mentioning an old VHS or DVDs from the 2000s called High Octane. You New Zealanders will know all about that. Quetzal Sterling. Basically, really cool videos from the early 2000s. Their very first video featured this car. In 1999, Video Option brought a whole bunch of cars or tuning companies over to New Zealand to do high-speed runs. And Top Secret brought this car out. A lot of other cool cars. There was the Jun WRX, the Veilside R34, but that was the first time I ever saw this car. And as like a 19-year-old, I was absolutely just shocked and awe about how amazing this thing looked. Basically, back then in those days, it was all, this is kind of before drifting, before dyno numbers and everything. It was all about like how fast your car can go and the top speed. And one of the biggest bragging rights in Japan was how fast your car can actually go and breaking that 300-kilometer-hour barrier. And that's why this car was built. In New Zealand, I don't think it actually quite did the 300 kilometers per hour. I believe they had some problems on the day. But I know that this car can do over 300. So, back then, everyone was talking about Top Secret, the gold colors and everything. Let's fast forward from there to about 2014, me walking around Garterville, and I actually saw this car at Garterville. When I kind of saw it, I thought, oh my god, someone has kind of recreated the GT300, but it wasn't. When I got closer and I looked under the engine bay, I realized this is the original car. How in the hell did it come to Norway? So super lucky enough today for me to actually be able to check this car out. So let's have a closer look. The first thing you kind of notice with this car is how crazy wide it is. So this is Top Secret's GT300 wide body kit on there. So you can see how wide those arches are. Absolutely crazy. Side skirts. Then these huge front fenders as well that just like fit so perfectly. I mean, the car does have some damage and everything, but I think that's kind of cool. It kind of tells a story of the car, where it's been and what it's been through and everything as well. You can see some of that famous Top Secret gold paint kind of cracking and peeling here. But I mean, just look at that, like how wide that is. So the big Top Secret front bar as well. Go around the rear of the car. Huge rear wing. Massive rear guards, big rear bar, Top Secret R diffuser here as well. So I believe these aren't the original wheels that were on the old High Octane videos or the old school pictures, but still awesome wheels. Sport Racing GTNs. These are discontinued a long time ago, but look awesome, suit the car perfectly. Big Alcon brakes, absolutely huge rotors on there. You've got the wastegate exit down here, which looks awesome in that classic Top Secret style. And just all the old stickers that are on here as well, like Top Secret 2001, FCON Pro stickers, all these up the side, like it's just that awesome early 2000s style. The G-Ready T88 sticker as well. So yeah, a bit of history on this car. I believe it was imported into Norway in about 2005. In the mid-2000s, I believe a lot of cars were imported to Norway. I might make a video about that in the future discussing why and how that was kind of able to happen. But I believe a company called Japan Auto, which is quite famous. Back in those days, they had a couple of drift cars you might know. They imported this car. Yeah, so it came to Norway. Kind of interesting fact, just shortly after they imported it, there was a fire in the warehouse. So let's have a look at that. And I believe there is some of the damage that is still on the car. I believe around the roof area. You can see here, slightly melted. Up around here as well, where obviously the heat has gotten to it, but it hasn't done too much damage at all. So seriously lucky that you know, it wasn't destroyed in that fire. That would be an absolute bummer. So I mean, what makes this car really special and very different is obviously this. Obviously the 2JZ is gone in its place, the 3S GTE, same engine that's in Celica GT4s, MR2s, etc. This one's been stroked out to 2.2 litres, whole HKS catalogue inside it, all fully forged. Truss T88, massive turbo off the side there, tubular manifold, big wastegate, the Vale side throttle body on there, fuel system, basically 700 horsepower, engine is super far back against the firewall. It's all about weight and balance with this. It's always a bit of a debate on why a lot of the Supras, especially in the Japanese touring car series, didn't use 2Js, but you can see right there, I mean, the engine is just sitting so far back, so perfectly weighted. Radiator setup down there, all functional, I guess. One other thing I noticed as well, like top speed run, these are all covered as well, so all about aerodynamics, I guess, back when you're doing 300 kilometers an hour on a Tokyo expressway. So yeah, like as I mentioned before, like the car obviously is not perfect, but I mean that's what kind of makes it so special. Like I often wonder, if I owned a car like this, what would you change? And for me, I wouldn't really change anything about it. It's all those little cracks in the bodywork and the paint and everything. It tells a story of this car, you know, what it's been through. For me, I just can't believe I'm sitting near a car that was featured in that high octane video that I just loved so much. I mean, back then I was just addicted to watching those videos all the time. And I mean, first of all, this car is in Norway, which is crazy enough. So yeah, super stoked. But apparently from what I've heard, this car is on its way to America, along with another car that we're going to check out next. Okay, and the next car I wanted to show you is this one right here. The B Racing B32-4R Skyline. So R32 rear end, R32 front end. This car competed at the D1 Grand Prix, driven by Tsuyushu Tezuka. Very famous drift driver, also very famous for owning the Kids Heart factory, or Kids Heart tuning shop in Japan. They were very famous for being the ones that actually built the SIL 80s for Nissan. Really cool story, look that up if you get the time. Once again, another car that somehow made its way here to Norway in the mid to late 2000s. This car has actually been here for a while. This car I actually had as a feature car at my stand, a 101 Squadron stand, back in 2016, I believe. The sticker is still on there. So yeah, I was really lucky. A friend at that time actually owned this car and he offered it to me to have it at the stand, so I was absolutely stoked to have it there. Really cool. This thing is RB26 powered, uses an R33 GTR transmission. Basically converted to rear-wheel drive, has a full R33 GTR rear end, all IKEA formula, arms in it, fully set up for drift. was a very competitive car back in its day in the D1 Grand Prix series in Japan. And I believe it also competed in America as well a couple of times also. So it's been around the world, that's for sure. Overall, once again, like the car is in awesome condition considering its age and where it's been and everything. It's all pretty much original of how it was in Japan. I know it's a bit of controversy around a lot of cars that did make it to Norway. Unfortunately, didn't quite aren't in the same sort of state that this car is in, which is a bit of a shame. A lot have been either chopped up or parted out or something. I mean, it's kind of the same. I know a lot of other countries like Ireland has had the same thing, but really cool to see this thing is in its original condition. It still has all the original stickers and everything on it as well, which is fantastic. It's just been kept in its original condition as it was in Japan. So real credit to the owners of this car, keeping it the way it was. So super cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess the most impressive thing is the bodywork on this car. So if you go around, it's got the whole BR kit. So BR, front bumper, BR32 Fora, bonnet, over fenders, rear over fenders as well, rear bumper. Their wheels, Work Motion XC8s, still the original wheels from Japan. You can see here the wide guards with the fuel filler on the side here as well. Other things like the interior. This is definitely a Cusco built-in roll cage. Another cool thing, C-West side mirrors, which are a really cool touch. But yeah, overall interior still as it was. These are BR carbon door panels as well. Takata harness, Bride Lomaxes, passenger and driver. Interior is still in really good condition as well, very original. R32 and Apex Power FC sunroof as well. But yeah, in this RB26 twins, I believe HKS units on there. Tomo pod cams, R33 GTI intercooler. Yeah, overall nothing too crazy in this, just a good drift setup. So yeah, that concludes our day with these two amazing cars. I am super stoked I was able to bring them to you. I hope the wind wasn't too bad in this video. As I said, I'm in the mountains of Norway. It's cold and it's very windy, but yeah, I mean, just to be able to come here and have a real close look at these cars, be able to film them and take photos was an extreme privilege for me. Especially be able to look at this Supra right here. I mean, those high octane videos for me, like I just watched them religiously when I was a young, 20-year-old, whatever, just getting into cars and everything. And this was one of my favorite cars from back in the day. Also the Video Option magazine with this car, I believe it was featured in Max Power and stuff as well. So super stoked to be able to be up close to it and film it and show you guys all about it. It's one of the coolest cars in my opinion ever to come out of Japan, and really just kind of showcases that era of Japanese tuning that I love. Both of these cars kind of do that. So yeah, and then somehow to bring you that from Norway is just tripping me out right now, but I'm stoked and once again very privileged to be able to do it. So yeah, in saying that, the other cars I showed you were for sale. These ones are not, and from what I've heard, I don't know if they're going to be in Norway too much longer. I believe they're going to be exported somewhere else in the world. I'll let social media and time be able to tell you about that, but yeah. But hopefully I'll be able to bring you more cars like this in the future from Norway. There are a lot of cars that have come here. My goal is to kind of go around Norway and kind of chase down these cars that were imported here back in the 2000s and see where they're at now, basically, and just look at the history on them. So yeah, So hit like and subscribe for hopefully more of those updates, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, so I've actually been allowed to drive the BR R32 4R. So let's try this out. Back in an R32. Just gonna drive it around the building here. Oh, this feels so good just re-driving this thing, even though I'm only in second gear and doing like 20 kilometers an hour. Just feels good to be back in a right-hand drive car, you know. I just want to just drop the clutch, but it's not up to temperature and I don't want to break anything, so just cruise around, driving Miss Daisy style. Well, it's up to temperature now, so I can maybe give it a bit of boost. Famous last words right there. Super stoked with that.